House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi sent a letter to Speaker John Boehner today asking him to bring a bill to the floor that would make the Bush tax cuts permanent for those earning less than $1 million a year, while allowing them to expire for those making over $1 million. Sounds reasonable. The cuts are set to expire at the end of the year, and Pelosi's request comes just a day after the non-partisan Congressional Budget Office said allowing them all to expire could lead to another recession. Congressman John Yarmuth is a Democrat from Kentucky and a member of the Budget Committee. He joins us live from Louisville. Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, Martin.
Is there any chance that the bill Nancy Pelosi wants to see will see the light of day, given that it would require some measure of compromise from Republicans?
Well, it's not likely, Martin. We had almost the exact same vote in the Budget Committee. I introduced an amendment to eliminate the Bush tax cuts for everybody making over $1 million a year. Every Republican voted against that, and every Democrat voted for it. So I suspect what we'll see is Speaker Boehner would say, well, we'll bring a bill to the floor that will extend all the Bush tax cuts, including the high earners, and make that permanent, which is a non-starter for Democrats. So he's not going to dare bring that bill just on what we call middle-class tax cuts. There's no way in the world.
Right. Now, the problem with a speculative projection like the one from the CBO is that Republicans will say this report proves that the Bush tax cuts must be extended, while Democrats will say it proves massive spending cuts will hurt the recovery. Who wins this argument?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know who wins the argument, but what we've been saying all along when you're talking about reducing the deficits is that you have to have a balanced approach. But more importantly, there's a lot of more frequent conversation these days about the need to actually separate the short-term demands of the economy and needs of the economy and the long-term challenges of the deficit. And economists from across the spectrum are saying we actually do need to be spending more money right now and actually reducing the deficit down the road. We can't cut government spending right now. Everybody says that will hinder the recovery and possibly drive us back into recession. Government spending at all levels right now.
But unfortunately, Congressman Paul Ryan doesn't listen to any of those economists, because last night he called the president, and I'm quoting him, a failure. Mitt Romney says, as you know, the president has fanned the flames of what he calls a prairie fire of spending. But that just isn't true. Take a look at this chart, which shows the growth in federal spending under President Obama is the slowest it's been in nearly 60 years, and far less than it was under President Reagan, the man Paul Ryan, of course, mentions in virtually every speech. The whole point I'm making here, sir, is that Ryan's claim that the deficit is overwhelming and spending is out of control is utterly inaccurate when you look at the facts.
Absolutely. Well, Chairman Ryan's entire economic outlook is it's faith-based economics. It just basically ignores reality and facts and evidence and relies on the ideology that he's committed to. We see this every day in dealing with him on the Budget Committee, and all you have to see is that he was going to cut taxes, cut the top rate to 25% in his budget and in the Republican budget, and then that was going to promote growth where we actually doubled the total revenue of the government over the next 10 years. He doesn't say how that's going to happen. He doesn't offer any backup to support how it could happen, but he just believes it'll happen. If you cut taxes on the very wealthiest people, then all of a sudden all this new revenue is going to appear. Again, it's smoke and mirrors. That's all it is.
Or some people would say it's magic. Let's look at